Now, in today's class, we are going to talk regarding the biological characteristics. In the last classes, we have discussed regarding the physical characteristics, chemical characteristics. Now, the third type of a main characteristic is the biological characteristics. Now, the biological characteristics is nothing but due to the living things in the water, okay, that is nothing but the plants or animals. The water is going to have developed some kind of a some characteristics in it, so we call this as an biological characteristics. Okay, so due to the living things which are present in water, the water will be getting some characteristics into it, so we call it as an biological characteristics. So there are in water, it is going to have three main types of living things, that is aquatic plant, aquatic animal, and the aquatic molds, bacteria, and viruses. Okay, now the aquatic plant is further divided into spermophyta, that is we call it as an water weeds, then bryophyta we call it as a mosses, then pteridophyta we call it as an ferns, and the last one is the thallophyta, we call it as an algae. Okay, out of these, water weeds and algae are practical importance to water works engineer. If favorable conditions of light and temperature and nutrition are present, then water weeds grow in a dense form and infect lake, pond, and canals. Okay, then they are very much reduce the carrying capacity of canals apart from the furnishing shelter and food to other microorganisms, and they are having decay during organic matter in water. They are having a capacity to decay in presence of sun and sunlight and oxygen. They are having the capacity to decay. Okay, next is the algae are considered as a simple photosynthetic plants with a unicellular organ or reproduction. They are thus organisms that are self-nourishing by deriving the energy from simple inorganic substances and aid of sunlight. That means they are having the capacity to produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Okay, algae impart objectional taste. When algae are there, it is going to impart the objectional taste and odor to water and may trouble the water works, right, by clogging the filter beds. So due to the aquatic plant, we are going to have these kind of a problem. They may create the problem in the water works, and also the one advantage of these having the aquatic plants in water is they also supply the oxygen, that is a DO level inside the water body. So aquatic plant, the presence of aquatic plant, what it will do, it is also going to help in the increase in DO, and if sufficient amount of sunlight and it is not available, then it may degrade also, so it may also give some amount of bad odor and bad taste to water. Okay, next is the aquatic animals. The aquatic animals, we can see there are the water gives the shelter to various kinds of fish, then it is going to give the various kinds of shelter to the hydra, then histolytica, then aquatic earthworms. Okay, all these will be having in water. Okay, so these also will be there inside the water. Okay, now we are going to come to the vertebrates. That is, vertebrates are nothing but which are going to have the backbone. Fish and amphibians are placed under this particular system. When algae growth is controlled by chemicals, or when water is going to be get polluted by discharging the organic matter, insecticides and other organic waste, and the vertebrates die and they are going to decompose. Suppose if any organic matter is there inside water, then what it will do is that particular organic matter is going to decompose, and in order to decompose, yesterday we have seen regarding the BOD concept. When it wants to live in that particular, when microbes want to live in that particular water, what they will do is they try to consume oxygen which is present in water. So whenever, suppose if any fish dies in water due to any reason of its then it may degrade. When it is going to degrade, it is going to create the microbes in it. So these microbes are going to live by consuming the oxygen inside the water. When it is going to consume the oxygen, slowly it is going to reduce the DO which is present in water, and it may increase the BOD content in water. Okay, so this is how the aquatic animals will interfere in the water quality. Next is, we are going to talk regarding the different kinds of aquatic bacteria and viruses. Okay, so this is the third concept we are going to see now, the different types of aquatic molds, bacteria and viruses. So these bacteria are going to divided based upon its characteristics. So according to its type, it is going to be divided into the saprophytic bacteria, parasitic bacteria, pathogenic bacteria and non-pathogenic bacteria. Now, what are these saprophytic bacteria? Okay, what are the saprophytic bacteria? The saprophytic bacteria are beneficial to man and obtain organic matter in solution from dead and decaying tissue in the plants. They help to decompose the organic matter. So, it is going to be helpful. Now, what are parasitic bacteria? Parasitic bacteria are the bacteria which are going to live inside the host body, and they are having the capacity to multiply. Okay. Third one is your pathogenic bacteria. The pathogenic bacteria are able to spread diseases. They are having the capacity to spread the diseases inside the human body. That is the reason why we call them as an pathogenic bacteria. Now, what are non-pathogenic bacteria? The bacteria which does not cause any kind of a disease. We call them as a non-pathogenic bacteria. Next, according to the oxygen need, the bacteria are divided into aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria and facultative bacteria. Now, what are aerobic bacteria? Aerobic bacteria are those which are going to live by consuming the oxygen. Okay, so they are nothing but called as an aerobic bacteria. Okay, anaerobic bacteria, these are the bacteria which are going to live in water without consuming the oxygen. That is, they can survive in the absence of oxygen also. So these we call it as an anaerobic bacteria. What are facultative bacteria? The facultative bacteria are those which can survive in either in the presence of the oxygen or in the absence of oxygen. That we call it as an facultative bacteria. The third one is according to the temperature. So according to the temperature, we are going to divide the bacteria into psychrophilic bacteria, mesophilic bacteria and the thermophilic bacteria. Now, what are psychrophilic bacteria? Which are going to live at a temperature of 10 to 20 degree Celsius. Now, if we increase the temperature beyond 20 degree Celsius, they will die. So these will be called as an psychrophilic bacteria. Now, what are the mesophilic bacteria? Mesophilic bacteria are those which will live around 20 to 40 degrees Celsius. So if you increase the temperature beyond 40 degrees Celsius, they will die. Okay, thermophilic bacteria, those are the bacteria. These are the bacteria which are going to live at a temperature of around 40 to 65 degrees Celsius. That we call it as an the thermophilic bacteria. Next is due to these biological characteristics, see aquatic plants, aquatic animals and aquatic bacteria and viruses, if microbes are there, then it is going to have the capacity to spread the diseases. So now we are going to discuss regarding what are the different types of waterborne diseases. These type of diseases are going to happen due to the presence of microbes in that. Okay, so we are going to discuss regarding the waterborne diseases. Okay, now why we call them as a waterborne diseases is, suppose if there is any of the microbes are there in water. Okay, if any of the microbes are there in water, now if we drink that particular water, okay, if we are going to drink it, right, these microbes, what they will do is they will go into the host body and they will try to spread the disease. So these are the diseases which are going to come to the presence of microbes. Okay. Now first disease that we are going to get due to the waterborne diseases, there are some types in that. So first is a typhoid fever, then paratyphoid fever, then cholera and the dysentery. These are the main waterborne diseases which is going to come due to when there are some amount of microbes are there in water. Now when these microbes will be there in the water, okay, now if there is any kind of an organic contaminant which is present in water, for example feces or say any of the organic materials are there, then it is going to give the growth to the microbes. When these microbes want to survive, they will consume the oxygen and they turns the water into the stale conditions. Okay, so this is how the microbes will spread the diseases. Okay, now first we'll speak regarding the typhoid fever. The typhoid fever is one of the most common kind of a waterborne diseases that we are going to get when the water is getting contaminated by human feces or urine. This is caused by the bacteria called as Salmonella typhi, which occasionally continues to uh, prolify the rate in gallbladders of few patients who even after recovery from the primary infection continue to excrete the organisms in the feces or urine for a long, even for a life. Okay, now typhoid fever, the symptoms are that you will be going to have the headache, fever, and the fever in the probably in the nights, along with that fatigue. So these are the symptoms of the typhoid fever. This it is going to happen due to the bacteria called as Salmonella typhi. See, these are the waterborne diseases. They are going to ask the question regarding this. What are the different kind of waterborne diseases? Briefly explain. So what you need to write is you need to remember the typhoid fever name. This you need to remember along with which microbes. Okay, which microbe is going to cause that particular typhoid fever, you need to remember. So similarly you need to remember for paratyphoid, cholera and the dysentery. Okay, now next is paratyphoid. This fever is most commonly due to the ingestion of contaminated food, especially milk, dried or the frozen eggs and other products. This is caused by the bacteria called as Salmonella paratyphi A, B or C. Okay, you need to remember the bacterium name, that is Salmonella paratyphi A, B or C. The number and infectivity of organisms released to environment are generally smaller than the typhoid fever. Okay, so it is normally it is a paratyphoid, means it is a next version or the smaller version of, you can say, the typhoid fever. Okay, next is the cholera. Cholera, this is caused by the bacterium called as an Vibrio cholerae. You need to remember the microbial name, that is Vibrio cholerae. Usually the infection is contracted by the ingestion of contaminated water, that is normally which are going to be infected by the human fecal material. Sometimes it may be contracted by contaminated food or personal contact also. Okay, the as compared to the typhoid fever, the cholera is more violent, okay, and often fulminating in its clinical course. Okay, it is more stronger than your typhoid fever. Next is we are going to speak regarding the bacillary dysentery, or we also it is caused by the bacteria called as Entamoeba histolytica. That is nothing but the normally we call it as an dysentery. Okay, again it is again caused due to the contaminated water which is there. When we have it, then we are going to get these kind of waterborne diseases. Now these are the different type of waterborne diseases. Then in examination they may also ask regarding write in brief regarding the viral diseases also. Okay, now the different kind of viral diseases that we are going to get is Cox virus, polio, right? And then these are the different kind of infectious hepatitis. These are the different kind of viral diseases that we are going to have. But normally they will be asking you regarding what are the different kinds of waterborne diseases that are there, that they are going to normally ask. Now we have not talked what how the viruses and how the bacteria are there. So we'll discuss in brief regarding that. Viruses are infectious agents to both the plant and the animal cells. They are ultra microscopic. That means they are seen by a ultra microscope. Means normal microscope we cannot able to see. We require the greater resolution for that. So this is nothing but the ultra microscope. They can pass through the ultra microscopic filter and the fall in size range of, that is, these viruses are having the size of around 10 to 500 millimicrons, right? Because they are very small in size, viruses lack of the biochemical systems needed for normal metabolic cell functions. Okay, so these are having a very small size, that is the size is going to range between 10 to 500 millimicrons. Okay, now what are bacteria? Bacteria are a single celled microorganisms with a rigid cell wall, and they can soluble in water and convert into new cells. So bacteria, I have given the classification of the bacteria and previously. So they are normally they will be having the range in between 0.5 to 1.5 microns and lesser than 10 microns long. That means the bacteria are having the larger size than the viruses. So in today's class we have discussed regarding what are the different biological characteristics that water is going to get due to the some of the living organisms in water, that is especially due to the plants and animals and bacteria and the viruses. Okay, so this is we have discussed in today's class. Along with that we have also discussed some of the waterborne diseases, and we have also discussed on the some of the viral diseases.